hot, ain't it, man? Got a drip like a nigga sell block, ain't it, man? She on my tip cause a nigga on top, ain't it, man? They hope I slip, but I got it on lock, ain't it, man? I wake up to break up these niggas from the bullshit. When I'm in the booth, the niggas spitting from the pulpit. They calling me the truth, wait till they hear my new shit. I'm on these niggas' necks like the locks on Dipset. Pull up on your block, no top, with my paint wet. My nigga T-Stack just handed me a blank check. Now people think I made it, ain't even did my thing yet. They feelin' nigga shit, but they don't even know my name yet. Slaughta made a game ball, fighting for a game check. You ain't talking money, nigga, I'ma need a rain check. Think we on the same thing, you need to get your brain checked. Your bitch on a nigga dick and I ain't even dang yet. My voice get a moist, yeah, keep a little thing wet. If she bring a best friend, I might entertain that. Slide between her pretty thighs, straight rearrange her. Tell her ass some pretty lies and leave her little brain wet. Man, cause the nigga shit hot, ain't it, man? Got a drip like a nigga sell block, ain't it, man? She on my tip cause a nigga on top, ain't it, man? They hope I slip, but I got it on lock, ain't it, man?
I'm mad cause a nigga be done.
Ain't it, man?
Loaded gun, pocket full of 100 buns.
Ain't it, man?
Diamond shining on the nigga like the sun.
Ain't it, man?
TNT bout to blow up like a bomb.
Ain't it, man?
Pulling up in that foreign, state to state, I'm torn dollar for dollar, chasing paper, yeah, you know where I'm going. I'm popping tops and blowing, nothing but skills I'm showing. I was the one they ignoring, now my little light start glowing. I'm doing shows and features, never kick it with leeches. I lead them haters side down and looking up from the bleachers, cause real players gon' bow. I'm the one they gon' call when they start looking for the real. They get tired of y'all, ain't no way I'ma foul. Gotta stay on my feet, put T-stacks on the beat. I'ma bring that heat, just kick back in your seat. Let my game unfold, put 20,000 in the soul. Try to go get no gold, too much paper to fold. Know this outside hole, I'm steady bobbing in the mix, I got it under control. Pulling up in that candy trunk, bang, it screams rain. These boys that throw the storm coming down, ain't it, man?
It's mad cause a nigga shit hot, ain't it, man? Got a drip like a nigga sell block, ain't it, man? She on my tip cause a nigga on top, ain't it, man? They hope I slip, but I got it on lock, ain't it, man?
You mad cause a nigga beat it done.
Ain't it, man?
Loaded gun, pocket full of 100 buns.
Ain't it, man?
Diamond shining on a nigga like the sun.
Ain't it, man?
TNT bout to blow up like a bomb.
Ain't it, man? Ain't it, man? Ain't it, man? What up, y'all? Happy Thursday to everybody. Today, we back with the Slaughta POD. We're going to talk about the Crime Stoppers Most Wanted little escapade, about some of the stuff I went through. Hopefully, I can, stop you or your kids, definitely your kids, from going through. I hope at this stage of life. But like I said, it all depends on who listening. Some of y'all are in y'all heyday right now. Some of y'all listeners out there, y'all are where I used to be, out there trying to get it, out there, by any means necessary. So anyway, we're going to run back to the Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. I'm gonna always take it back a little bit for the listeners who probably wasn't in tune last week. So I had ended up robbing a dude, me and some other guys. And mind y'all that these guys have been talking about robbing this guy for months and months and months around me. And that was absolutely the last thought on my mind that I'm going to end up robbing somebody. I was getting up and going to work early in the morning, 6 a.m. I would do my thug thistle on the weekends, but, I was a weekend warrior. During the week, hey, I got up and went to work. Was, usually work on time and pretty good work and all that, so I wasn't really trying to, crash out, as they would say. But after hanging around this group of individuals who constantly talking about robbing this dude, and then, like I said, it was a perfect cocktail. We went out to Club Lakeside, RJ's for my old heads, out right there off Bachman Lake. And as I was telling y'all last week, Pac had just dropped Hit 'Em Up, and no one had ever saw the video. And this night at Lakeside, they played that video like 10 times in a row. And like I mentioned last week, the club was literally in a frenzy. Music has influence like you wouldn't believe. When I was young and rapping and stuff like that and listening to rappers, and all the rappers would be like Street Military out of Houston. They had a song or an album entitled Don't Blame It on the Music. And, I kind of wrote with that, and a lot of people wrote with that. No, it ain't the music fault. Look at the violent action film. Look at what Schwarzenegger do. All of it influences. But the one thing that I keep forgetting to touch on is these violent ass video games. And the reason why I don't touch on the video games, because I'm not a gamer. So that's outside of my train of thought or whatever. But I have to admit, the video games now have the music going in the background, the graphic illustrations of your shooting. So today's video games give you all three ways to really F your life up: visual, audio, and then, like I say, the actual action of pulling the trigger. So it's like all of that, the video games today is off the chain. That's why I believe there's a rise in mass shootings. But this is about Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. We'll touch on that later as as we continue to turn the pages of the Book of Slaughter. So back to the Crime Stoppers Most Wanted incident. So I'm hanging over there off Gannon Lane with my Gannon family. What up, everybody? Cookbook, Dundee, Big Ray. What up? Who am I missing? I said Sonny Loke, Cisco, Big Ray, Dundee. Those are people I consider the Gannon family. The other people, Dre, Yella, that came in late that I just didn't understand he didn't fit to me. Debo, Lil Debo, he was cool, but the family was, me, Cookbook, Dundee, Ray, Sonny Loke. Cisco wasn't even really part of the family. He didn't hang out over there. He did his own thing. But yeah, so me and the Gannon family, we hanging out and doing our thing. Black and Chuck from Jasper, Texas. Y'all definitely part of the family. So as I'm hanging around these dudes, there's certain individuals, not all of them, like Black and Chuck, they wasn't with that. They was working hard every day, and especially Black. Mark Carter, them Carter boys. So I'm around these dudes talking about robbing this guy. We go to the club. The club is in a frenzy playing Hit 'Em Up. Lo and behold, we leave the club, and I'm riding behind my homeboy, my big homie, who's my little homie, but he, big dude. Rolling behind him, and I'm telling the dudes I'm riding with, y'all been talking about robbing this dude for months. Tonight gonna be that night we getting that dude. So Black and Chuck out of Jasper, they telling me, Rod, bad idea. Don't do it. Too many people gonna know about it. There's 5 people in this car alone, and that's not smart. I was so turned on by the whole thug vibes of that night. When I say turned on, I don't mean sexually, I mean turned up. I wanted to put in some work. Some of these people who in the gangbanging world or in the hood life, they might call it jumping off the porch, getting their cherry pop the first time they do a drive-by, the first time they do something just with life-changing consequences attached to it. I mean, many years of penitentiary years attached to it. A lot of time before people do that, they have what's called a key in their back. They have been primed. They are ready. They so ready, you can't even talk logic into them. You can't even say, hey, the penitentiary is waiting for you if you do this. Hey, you're going to mess up your whole life. Hey, you just had a newborn baby. The power of the people you hanging out with, the music you listening to, the things you are ingesting, the things that you're ingesting, including the alcohol and marijuana, which, I'm a big fan of the marijuana, but I'm just keeping it real. When you taking in all that alcohol and weed, when I say ingesting, that's just a chemical thing. The main thing I'm talking about is the energy of these dudes you're kicking it with, that gang mentality, that pack mentality. We are all human beings, yes. You can get pulled into it. Many of us, I'm strong-minded, I'm strong-willed. Well, I hope you are. But most youngsters who don't even really know who they are yet, they're more likely to follow the pack. And they more likely to fall into the pack mentality. And that's exactly what happened to me. In fact, it took me over. The other dudes was like, I don't know if it's a good idea. And I'm like, man, no, bump that. Y'all been talking about it for months. Tonight we strike and we getting them tonight. And I told y'all previously last week, that was a real close friend of mine who I started pulling away from him because I just felt like, he didn't have my best interest in mind. Not like he wanted to do anything dirty to me, but just keeping it real. this was back in the day. I haven't hung out with this dude in years. Back in the 90s, I mean, I could clearly see it. He celebrated my failures and he cheered my losses. And many of us have people like that in our life. We try to overlook it. Like, damn, this dude is always happy when something fucked up happened. But he seemed kind of down when I have victories. So I started noticing this about my ex-homie. Like I said, again, y'all, I'm not mentioning no names because I've forgiven the dude. In fact, like I said, when I look back at it, the way the thing happened, me or him was going to prison for what happened. Somebody was going to prison for that. And it was stupid. And he got nothing out of it. I gained financially from it. Me, Sonny, and Cisco, we split the loot and left him completely out. So he was like, not only did they not share nothing with me out of the lick they hit, but, then, they talking noise to me like, man, you didn't go, you not getting nothing. So he was like, so not only did I get nothing, now all fingers are pointing towards me. So they finna try to come lock me up and send me to prison. So, he did what he have to do. Some people, man, and there's a lot of things that I'm seeing online lately where people are keeping it real. All that street code, G code, man, on one of my songs, it's like I say, even the real start to squeal when they facing 50. I forgot what I said. I have to remember the lyrics, but it's like, yeah, even the real don't seem so real when they facing 50 years. So, a lot of us have to be realistic and understanding the street code, the G code, very few people stick to that. So that's another reason why I'm quick to forgive. And, I'm not going to put my old homie on blast because the whole situation helped me out. Had I not been locked up for this robbery, me and this dude, we were starting to kick people's doors in. We were starting to do some crazy shit. And there's no question in my mind that robbery is where my life changed at. When I went to TDC, when I went to prison, I went one time and never went back. Some people went multiple times. I just don't understand that. There's no women in there. Why in the hell would you want to keep going there? That's craziness. There's women guards, but like I say, very, very, very seldom do an inmate really get to pull off some slick and knock off one of them guards. And if you do, it ain't gonna last long. She getting fired, you getting moved. That's just like, it don't happen like that. Some people got that gift or that luck to where they behind walls. And Texas is not like California where they have the contact visit, conjugal visits, whatever you call it. Texas ain't like that. So you don't get to just be locked up and go knock your fiance down. These dudes are masturbating, looking at guards fully clothed. That's the reality of prison. So we leaving the club, right? And the guy that I stopped hanging out with, he pulls over. I'm taking y'all back for the people who wasn't with us last week. And he's suggesting we rob this dude that's passed out in his back seat. I'm already telling the guys I'm rolling with, we're going to rob that dude. He at the club flashing money. He's been on our radar, on their radar for a while. I'm just taking it in through my subconscious. Every weekend, they talk about robbing this dude for the last 3-4 months. Tonight, I'm full of the liquor, full of the blunts. My homies are full of the gangster energy. Pac on the screen telling you to just decapitate your enemies. It's like that whole energy was just like, it wasn't no stopping us. It wasn't no stopping me. Right amount of alcohol, right amount of influence, I'm finna get into some gangster shit and I'm gonna love it. My favorite thing was always females. My cousin Laddie J, man, he rest in peace. He was more always with that gangster shit, let's fight. I was a lover. But that night I was in full gangster mode. So tonight, I got the key in my back. We're gonna jack this dude they've been talking about jacking for months. I'm gonna show him how to set it off. We take the dude to Keys Park and we brutalize him because he woke up, like I say, rightfully so. I'm not blaming this man for waking up, but he woke up and went to defend himself, and the frame of mind we was in, it just escalated. And before we knew it, we caused this man great bodily injury. And I'm blessed to be talking to y'all right here today because we thought we killed him. Not that was our intention, but as we left him at Keys Park, and then we went to Gannon Place Apartments to regroup and, to get my car, and I had females over there waiting for us. So when we get back over there, we discover something is missing off the scene. We can't find it in the car. Me and my big homie, the one who ultimately ended up in my paperwork that sent me to TDC back in 97, me and him thought so much alike. Remember, when I decided I was going to rob him, I didn't even tell a dude, my little homie. I didn't even tell him that. He was in a whole nother car, and me and him, we clicked on the same idea about the same time. Because me and him, remember, we had stopped hanging out for months. I just started noticing something about his character that didn't have my best interest in mind. But mind you, before that point, me and him, we locked in for years. I mean, we was like, me and him, we was like the best of homies. But sometimes it seemed like real talk. Sometimes relationships and friendships have expiration dates. Because right around the time I cut the dude off, before I got back in touch with him, and we ultimately got me in a whole lot of trouble. Well, I got me in trouble. I had left the dude alone, quit hanging out with him completely. But me and this dude had hung out so many years, we thought so much alike. It was crazy. So when he went back to his car, he looking for one particular thing, and he notices something about it. And he looks at it, and he like, this is what they used on the victim. It's mine. I got to get rid of it. He don't tell us nothing. He just get rid of it or whatever. I'm sure after wiping his prints off thoroughly. So we go back to the car, and now we're looking for the said item to see, what happened to it. We can't find it. So we drive back to Keys Park. I'm going to say Keys Park was 7 or 8 minutes away from Gannon Place, maybe 10 minutes one way. So when we come back, all of a sudden, we get back to Keys Park. The dude is still laying down, face down, except now the puddle of blood that was kind of small coming from his head has grown quite a bit. So if y'all was in tune with me last week, I was telling y'all that once I saw this dude not moving, we done drove to the apartments, argued with my one partner about him not getting no cut because he didn't get his hands dirty. And I'm telling him, hey, this is somebody, me and these dudes might end up going to prison for this, which I ultimately did. And so did Sonny Loke. So, we took penitentiary chances. You didn't get your hands dirty. You conveniently didn't want to go because the dude know you. He know me and he know Sonny. We still took that risk. So, like I say, we argue him. We go through all of that and then go check his car and realize something is missing. We drive back to Keys Park. As I told y'all, the dude hasn't moved since we left him there. And now the small puddle of blood is pretty big. So all the alcohol that I've ingested, all the weed that I've smoked is completely, boom, magically I'm sober. Not only am I sober, I'm terrified. I'm certain that I just fucked up my future. And not just feeling bad for myself. I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, that's somebody's kid. My daughter was maybe 1 year old when I did this stupid shit. So I'm thinking, what if somebody ended up doing your child like that? Like, we messed that dude up. And I'm not saying it's bragging. I'm saying it because I'm saying it from, like, it was sad. Just, of course I was young. I wouldn't do no shit like that now. But just the influence of music, hanging with the wrong crowd, the wrong people, it is amazing. When they say bad associations spoil youthful habits, me and honestly good dudes, when I did get to prison, I found out not everybody in prison is a thug. Some people was just like me, a good dude, a good guy who was seduced by the street lives, so did some street shit, but really a good person. And I'm gonna talk about that, the difference between what I call them vampires and familiars. Are people that was born demons versus people that were seduced or possessed by demons. And this is metaphorically speaking. I'm just saying, these are my metaphors for it. So once we get back to the park and find the individual face down, Sonny tells me he hears that the guy keeps a lot of money in his socks. And I'm looking at this dude terrified, and I'm like, man, I'm not touching him. A little too late, but still, I'm like, shit, I'm not leaving no more evidence on this dude. I'm not touching him. I'm really like terrified, thinking I'm looking at a body, thinking, what the fuck have I done? What the fuck have we done? But I'm just looking at my involvement. What did I do? Because I put I did quite a bit. So we leave the park, and we looking everywhere for this weapon that might have been left behind. We don't know that my little big homie done already took it out of the car. So we can't find it. But we know this dude ain't moved since we done went back to Gannon Place, argued, came back, looking around the park, some headlights pull up. We thinking it's the cops pulling up. Guessing it's a couple that was coming there to mess around because they seen me and Sonny, and they just made a U-turn and turned out of there. And cops were known for strolling through Keys Park late night. Way back in the late 80s, a parole officer's head, our probation officer's head, somebody cut it off and left it at that park. So, Keys Park was known for certain things, and at night, sometimes the cops would roll through to make sure everything was everything. We out there standing over unconscious white dude with blood, a big puddle of blood coming out his head, and some headlights hit us, and we terrified. Like I said, it wasn't the cops. We don't find what we're looking for out there. Sonny's trying to tell me, let's go through the dude's socks. I heard he hides money in the socks. Now, reality's kicked in. I think we might have killed this dude, and I'm not touching him. Sonny decided not to touch him either. We go back to Gannon Place, argue some more about splitting the loot. The girl that was supposed to be hooking up with me that night, Felicia and her friend, she could see I was visibly disturbed, distraught, shaken. She like, man, what's wrong? What's wrong? What did y'all do? What did y'all do? She could look at me and tell we had did something real messed up, and I wouldn't tell her because I'm thinking, the less people that know, the better, and I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. Man, why the hell I wasn't even supposed to go to the club tonight? Not only did I go, end up robbing a dude and think I killed him. So I can't explain it. Like the darkness, the fear, the dread, the regret of, man, I really just want to live free and be successful in life. And now I'm put myself in a position where I'm probably finna do most of my life in prison. And that's not even me. I'm just like, damn. So lo and behold, my big homie that I'm protecting his identity, because like I said, we cool now. We spent years not speaking. If we did this robbery at 2 o'clock in the morning, by 9 or 10 o'clock that morning, he's telling some young chicks, I would say messy chicks. Oh, I guess everybody's messy at that age. So I'm going to say messy chicks around Falcon Crest and Gannon Place Apartments. Hey, man, Rodney and them, man, they robbed that white boy last night, and I think they killed him. So less than 24 hours after doing it, my distraught homie, who didn't get nothing out of the deal, is telling people around the apartments that he's pretty sure we killed the white dude. And the reason why, the relevance if he'd been white or whatever, because this is back in all black apartments over there. It was all black over there. Very few Hispanics or whites. So the white dude stood out like a sore thumb. He was selling dope, selling guns, and, everything else. So he was naturally a target, but I didn't know it until after we robbed him. The dude was very well connected with killers in the streets, very well connected. So that's why he was able to be bold enough to, sell dope in the all black community, because he was like a little white boy Rick. He had hookups, he had connections, which almost got us killed once we did rob the dude. They definitely came back looking for retribution. So let me not get off the subject. So once we commit the robbery, I go back home over there to Chauncey Village, which is right down the street for my Dallas people, Canterbury, Chauncey Village, right over there off Camp Wisdom. Living with old Michelle Porter. Hopefully you're doing good. What up, Michelle Porter? That was a girl I was dating at the time. I come back 3, 4 in the morning. She has to be at work at Texas Instruments. I pick her up, take her to work. And while I'm taking her to work, I see this dude that looks just like the white dude we jacked, dressed the same, shirt off. Remember, we pulled his shirt over his head. And it's like my mind is playing tricks on me. We way, way, way away from Oak Cliff. We headed to North Dallas to Texas Instruments, TI. And we driving, and I see the dude that we jacked the night before walking down the street looking disheveled. Like, how did he get this far? I'm like in a state of shock. Pull up on him a little bit. It's a Hispanic male, not even the same dude with Jack, dressed exactly like the dude. It's like my mind is playing tricks on me. Days after the robbery, Michelle Porter, my ex, was telling me I was acting it out in my sleep. They say when you kill someone or when you do something real heinous that you like, it's not what you think. Unless you're just a complete animal or completely numbed off drugs or whatever. It bothered me so much what we did to this young man that I'm actually acting it out in my sleep. And she says I'm doing it, but I'm laughing. And like I say, I remember when I was beating this dude, I distinctively remember getting some pleasure out of it. Because a lot of men, testosterone feel, natural testosterone, we do have violence in us. We do have, and I will be perfectly honest, when I'm hitting this dude, all the years of what I've heard about what white man has done to black man is playing in my head. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, all of this stuff is like, for years I've been hearing about what y'all have done to us, for years. And I didn't even know it until I was doing it, that how much everything that I had ingested in my brain, the stuff I've read, watching Roots, Rodney King, just all the injustice, even though I'm committing a crime, a part of me got enjoyment out of the violent act. We're going to call that the spirit, the flesh. And there was a part of me that cringed when I thought about what I had done, and that would be the spirit. Because in the flesh, it's like, man, these people have brutalized us for years. It's payback time. It was like, that's kind of my mindset at the time. And I remember feeling and I'm sure that guys can understand this. When you play football, when you hit somebody real hard, it feels good. I remember struggling with the part of me that felt good about just beating the hell out of this dude. And I remember feeling convicted about that. Like, why did a part of you enjoy beating a dude like that? And, I went through all of this, right? So lo and behold, as I told y'all, I had a dream that my girlfriend had turned me in for the robbery. There was a chick that lived next door to us named Joyce. And in my dream, me and Joyce messed around and my girl found out about it. So she turned me in for the robbery because she was hurt and felt betrayed. So the morning that I woke up and told my girl about the dream was the same morning that I showed up in the newspaper, Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. So I wake up and my girl can tell I had a nightmare. I had to be at work at like 6. I woke up about maybe 4:30 a.m., just like in a cold sweat, like a movie, breathing heavy from a nightmare. And my girl like, damn, you had a nightmare? What's up? And I told her, I dreamt that you turned me in for the robbery. And for some reason, she had a look of terror in her eyes. Like, instead of her just saying, oh, thank God it was just a dream, the fear in her eyes let me know something about my dream was real to her. Lo and behold, when I went to work that day, when I was having a dream, they was printing up the newspapers with my face in it, Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. And I truly believe some dreams are just dreams, your brain being active, and certain dreams mean something. Some people believe all dreams mean something. I don't think so. I think your subconscious mind works overtime sometime and will cause dreams. But in this particular case, this is like 4 months after the robbery. I had many dreams of committing a robbery, of committing a violent act, but that was the first time I dreamt of being turned in for the robbery. They was using walkie-talkies. I worked at the bulk mail center, which they communicated by walkie-talkie because it was so big, north wall, west wall. So as I was telling y'all last week, I'm at work and the spirit told me many, many times, you're not going to get away with that heinous act you did, beating that dude and robbing him like that. You got the best job you've ever had. You're making more than you've ever made. You're going to get caught for what you did, and it's going to happen on this job. Lo and behold, as I was telling y'all last week, sorry for those who was already here to run back the same story, but, to catch everybody up, I'm loving my job at the post office. I'm making legal money more than I've ever made, no joke. I remember thinking, man, if I would have known I was going to get this good-ass job, having so much fun at work, I wouldn't even rob that dude because I knew it was coming back on me. The spirit let me know, you ain't getting away with it, brother. So I'm still trying to move on and hope that karma is not real. I hope I can get a little bit of favor. So they ended up calling me to the office. They found out about a pistol case, UCW, unlawfully carrying of a weapon, that I failed to put on my application. They got to pretty much suspend me until I'm officially fired because I was a casual. And that was a very serious thing on a government document, which is an application for the post office. That's pretty much a government document. If you falsify anything as a casual, you're terminated. They told me no one has ever came back from less than that, ever. Lo and behold, people speak on my behalf and come out of the woodwork and they pull off a miracle for me. Seriously, everybody telling me nobody has ever kept their job. You're not a permanent employee, you're a casual. Any discrepancy, traffic ticket, the time you worked at this place, anything is off. So these people ended up keeping me and literally telling me, like they told me when I killed my cousin, that I had made history, telling me that they had never kept a casual with such a discrepancy on the application. They're celebrating. I feel so good. And then a slap in the face about a week later, after they kept me against all their rules, my face pops up in a newspaper, Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. So I dream it while I'm asleep with my girl Michelle Porter, getting up for. I had a nightmare before work, and I dreamt that I'm being turned in, and they're literally using walkie-talkies. So I get to work. People are watching me and this other dude named Walker on the forklifts. It was common practice to do pop-up safety evaluations without no notice and take notes. Did the dude look back before he backed up? Did he look both ways before he crossed through the aisle? You know, they would look for stuff like that. So it was common for us to look up and see somebody watching us taking notes. And me and another Walker were casuals, not even supposed to be on the forklifts. My supervisor, Joe Gomez, really had a lot of love for me. He told him it's cool. I'm going to let him on there. So when I look back and see people doing safety inspections, nothing pops up in my head. So finally, Joe, my supervisor, like, say, Rod, man, you famous today, man. About 4, 5, 6 people have came asking about you today. And I said that was the first time ever I'm working with this other dude named Walker. So the only 2 people that was working on that side of the north wall was Walker and Walker. We went by last names. I forgot his first name. That was like, you got a Walker over here? And it's like, yeah, both of those guys are Walker. So people would come and look at us, and they would stop looking at him and focus on me. And at that time, I had hair back then. I had just went from a slick back ponytail. Yeah, I used to actually have long hair, believe it or not. Too bad I haven't got real pics of that. To actually having cornrows. So I kind of switched up the hairstyle, but still they could tell that I was a dude in the paper, not the other dude. So my supervisor, Joe Gomez, I believe, yep, he like, Rod, you famous today, all these people asking about you. So this older black dude that me and him, we just didn't seem to like each other. He didn't speak to me. He'd always be giving me the sideways look. He ended up saving the day. He pulled up on me in his forklift. Bro, what's your name? Walker? I said, yeah. First name, Roderick? I said, yeah. Boy, are you in trouble? He had a newspaper in his lap. And I'm like, the only thing I can think of is I told y'all last week, Terminator. He finna show me somebody with my same name in obituary. I'm thinking my name in a newspaper, the only thing that could be is somebody with my name in obituary and he trying to be funny. So that's what I'm expecting to see, a different face with my name. This dude flipped and showed me my face in Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. Roderick James Walker, 5'8", 195, hair black, brown eyes, full description. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm literally terrified. I'm looking at my face in the newspaper, perfect description of me, and it says wanted for robbery. I knew instantly what it was about, but all of a sudden my insides have been blown out. I feel shallow. I feel just empty. I feel scared as hell. I know these people just kept me on. Me and my mama just celebrated this. I celebrated with people up here. First casual to keep his job after not mentioning a pistol case, and they kept me. A week later, I'm Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. There's no coming back from that. Your job is gone. Can you escape before the cops come and, have time to get your shit together? That was the only question. So the dude shows me my face on the paper. My supervisor used to throw me his car keys, convertible red Mustang Rod, take my car to lunch. Young dude like you should be driving a car like that. You're going to pull all the ladies. The dude just showed me love. On our lunch breaks, we went and smoked weed. Not me and Joe, the supervisor, me and pretty much everybody up there. So it's like, are you kidding me? We go smoke weed on our lunch breaks. We're making more legal money than ever. I'm working around beautiful, fine women, peers my age. Everybody seems to like me or love me, and I'm getting along with everybody. And I'm making great money now. I'm fleeing. My dream job, karma has come back. What I have did has come back to haunt me, and I knew it would. But it came back in such a brutal fashion. Nothing compares to the way we brutalized the dude, but I'm telling you, the way karma works, when I was at work having a perfect day, things were going good, and I'm not playing a victim here. I did the shit. But boy, karma, man, came back. As I'm leaving the post office, this annoying dude I told y'all last week tried to block my way. I pretty much reared up, got him out my face. A couple of people told me I was doing the right thing for leaving. I get out to the parking lot moving so fast, I don't even realize that I didn't drive to work. Dude headed my way. He's going to Canterbury. You know, the apartments in front of my apartment's Chances Village. He gives me a ride. Get there, realize I'm locked out. Call my girl who can't leave. She leaves to come pick me up. She's trying to get on permanent. I was trying to get on permanent at the post office. My dreams have been dashed, and I'm about to dash hers because she really, with the point system, can't leave the way she's leaving. But I dropped her off that day, and, you know, so she had to come get me. I'm locked outside of the apartment, and I'm Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. So once she comes to get me and we discover my face, she thinks she's in denial. It can't be you. We see me in a newspaper. We go to flee out of town. My homie John, my OG, older dude, telling me, bro, don't try to take that blazer out of town, man. Go to the bus station. You Crime Stoppers Most Wanted, not America's Most Wanted. Go to the bus station. I'm like, nah, I'm not chancing no bus station. You know, this is Dallas. You know, why would they not check the Greyhound bus station for anybody most wanted trying to flee? So I try to drive the blazer out of town. The truck breaks down in Hutchins, Texans. What up, Wilma Hutchins? Them boys was beast in football and powerlifting back in the night. So we 40 minutes outside of the car broke down. I'm walking time. We're about 40 minutes away from the nearest gas station. As I told y'all last week, we're walking down the street and we're being rained on. My girl at the time literally has on like this fur coat, a business skirt. Her hair is done real good, her makeup on. She was dressed real professional, you know, little hood chick trying her best to look glamorous at work type thing, just trying to make it. And as we're walking down the highway, because the blazers broke down, we woke up that morning both gainfully employed with great jobs, making great money. Now we're heading out of town because I'm Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. This girl is sick. She's trying her best to be there for me. She's leaving her two daughters, Shaquan and Shambra, at the babysitters just to be with me to flee out of town. I was just going to Houston, my cousin, when he was heavy in the game. And I wanted to get some bail money together and get some money for a lawyer so I could, stand a fighting chance. If they would have pulled me right off the streets, I would have been pretty much effed. So we ended up breaking down trying to get out of town, trying to make it to Houston. As I'm walking down the highway, she's walking behind me. I'm like kind of in a daze, like we're getting rained on. I'm Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. I had the perfect job. I'm walking down the street and I'm getting further and further ahead of her without even thinking. I look back, she's in high heel shoes. Her hair is starting to come down. She had her hair done real nice. The fur coat she had on is getting saturated. And she is just walking, just staring like, what happened to our perfect life? So I remember just feeling just bad as hell, like, damn. Not only did I fuck up, but I'm messing her up too, this lady trying to have my back. And now we walking down the highway. We supposed to be at home chilling, getting ready for work. And we walking in the nearest gas station about 7-8 miles. This dude laying orange cones, street cones, a street worker seen us and gave us a ride to the gas station. We get to the gas station and we are sitting there, and something about us, she got like on this fur coat and professionally dressed. I forget exactly what I had on, but I know I had cornrows, maybe some Dickies or something, wife beat or whatever. But everybody that came to the gas station, no exaggeration, they just looked at us like, what's going on with these two? They're so out of place. Everybody looked at us when they came to the gas station, and I'm sitting in that same newspaper, sitting up there, Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. So I'm thinking to myself, please don't let no cops show up here. Cops show up, 2 cops, and they pay close attention to me and her, get their coffee or whatever they was getting, and they leave. And I'm like, wow, thank goodness. My homeboy John show up, the one who told me don't drive that Blazer out of town. Now he got to save the day and come pick me up because we broke down. He told me that Blazer ain't going to make it out of town. Just take the bus. So now Michelle Porter's doing what I told her to do in the first place. She go pick up Shaquan and Amber from Miss Geneva's, the babysitter's house, and they go back home. And then my mother's boyfriend, Perry Washington, who had spent many years in prison, he was like a stepfather to me. He used to stay up real late, help me with homework and stuff like that for hours, trying to help me not follow the same path of end up going to prison. I ended up reaching out to him, and he took me to the bus station, and he was like, yeah, your dude is right. You know, you Crime Stoppers Most Wanted, not America's Most Wanted. I think you'll be okay to get on the bus. Perry apologized to me for not keeping me from going down the path that I went down, because he had been in prison several times. His last stint is where he actually met my mother in prison. We'll talk about that later. But him and my mother started dating because she was a nurse in prison, and that's where she met him. Once he got out, we moved from Vegas back to Oak Cliff. So I thought they pulled a tricky on me and moved us to Grand Prairie instead to keep me and my cousin from going to the same school, Lad DJ. But let me not jump around and Terry. Let me stay on track. So Perry Washington, who was like the closest thing to a father figure my mother ever dated, he's taking me to the bus station, and he's apologizing about not being in my life enough to keep me from doing something that would lead me to prison, because he knew he had been there many times. Prison is not a good place. And he told me, that you going to prison for this. You know, I got to keep it real with you. You know, that's robbery, and, you know, y'all really, you know, broke the dude's jaw, split his head open, fractured ribs. You're going to prison for this. And he said, when you do get to prison, he says, never stop controlling your mission, your path, your direction. Don't never start following somebody else's suggestion about anything. You let your workout routine be your routine. Like, basically, he was like, prison is the wrong place to be a follower. You must be a solid leader in prison. You cannot be a follower, is pretty much what he was telling me. Never stop marching to the beat of your drum. The way he said it, I forget exactly, but he said, never stop controlling like your narrative in prison. Like, pretty much the way he said is have your own mind and don't follow people. That's pretty much what he was telling me. And I got it clearly. And he put it in a very unique way, which I wish I could remember, but it's like, never stop controlling which direction you're going. He drops me off at the bus station. Lo and behold, I make it to Houston. My cousin, who was, you know, deep into the narcotics business, met me at the bus station. He was not able to help me out as much as I thought he would be financially, but it helped out enough for me to come back to Dallas and, you know, have bail money and get a lawyer and stuff like that. So come back to Dallas after being on the run, get a lawyer, Kenneth Wincorn, great lawyer. He represented me in my pistol case. And he actually took the .357 I was caught with as payment for the pistol case. So instead of paying him, he just kept the gun. And I thought that was pretty cool. So now he's representing me in this robbery case, which, of course, because the bodily injury has been upgraded to aggravated robbery. So he reaches out to me, and he's like, whatever you do, don't hang out nowhere, don't go nowhere. Because if you get picked up before we turn you in, that's still the same as being on the run. anything besides us turning you in, they're going to say you went on the run because you've been in the newspaper for a week and you haven't turned yourself in. So please don't get picked up before we can turn you in. So I remember that morning that we're getting ready to go to court. And the funny thing was, each time before I went to court, I will never forget, me, Black, Sonny, Chuck, Cookbook, Mark, we would always, Jason Carter too, we would always throw a party the night before I went to court, just in case I was going to get locked up. And we threw like 4 parties, and the judge kept resetting me and letting me go. So we would throw a party for me that Sunday night, man. Okay, you're going to court Monday, man. We would kick it all weekend. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm back at the apartment. They're like, yeah, we had a going away party for you. So we did that 4 times, literally 3 times. The 4th time we did, I'll never forget, had this little young lady. She met me over there, kicked it with her. We got drunk, got high, did all this and that. And then that 4th time, it was a time they did not let my ass go. So I'm literally, I can't go outside because I got a price on my head. So I get a 15-pack of Bull, Tupac CD, and a nice bag of some of that good gas, some of that good weed. And I locked myself in my girlfriend's apartment. Can't nobody see me. Neighbors like, man, your boyfriend Crime Stop's most wanted. Nah, yeah, he not here. He on the run. I'm inside the apartment hiding like a mug. So seriously, that's what got me through drinking that Slits Malt Liquor Bull, jamming Pac, and blazing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday morning coming. Mama getting ready to pull up to take me to court. And I'm jamming Pac. Machiavelli had just dropped. Pac had just died not too long before then. So I'm jamming at Machiavelli. Mama come pick me up all the way to court. She know that's my me time. You know, Mama, rest in peace. Love you. I'm just jamming Pac on my way to court, and Mama just driving, got that look on her face that any mother would have. My son is probably fixing to be locked up today. And, you know, she just had that look of, you know, me and her, you know, when I was going through something, she was going through something. So she felt very, very, I remember the weight was on both of us. So we get to court, and I'm waiting and waiting. My mother dropped me off, and, you know, and I'm just waiting, and they're looking at me. I think my mother might have hung out with me for like 30 minutes. So finally, after 2 or 3 hours, these bailiffs and people are like, hey, can we help you? Are we scheduled? I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm here to meet my lawyer, Kenneth Wincorn. Judge Hentz is the judge. He was like, yes. I was like, yeah, I'm turning myself in. I was Crime Stoppers Most Wanted. They looked at me. They went back to talk to the judge. They had like this conversation going on, like, bruh, this dude waited 3 hours and he's Crime Stoppers Most Wanted and turned himself in some kind of way that really left a good impression on Judge Hentz. He was like, most people would be on the run, and you waited. No exaggeration. I waited 2 or 3 hours for them to finally ask me what I was sitting in that empty courtroom for. Like, court was not in session. And I just went and Kenneth Wincorn told me to meet me there, and he came 3 hours later. And they granted me $1,500 bond, a little bit lower than they would have, because I waited, and Judge Hentz and Kenneth Wincorn used to actually play golf together. So it worked out in my favor. And boy, when I did get locked up, Mama let me sit for a little while, but let me tell you something. Boy, let me tell you the difference between a vampire and a familiar. A real demon or someone who was seduced or demonized, demon possessed or whatever. One of the first places I got locked up at when they did send me was a government center in Dallas. For those who, I used to hear about the government center. That was a dungeon. It was a dungeon. It was a dungeon. When my girl came to see me up there, it made it worse. Looking at her, knowing I couldn't go back home with her, it was like a knife twisting to my chest. And she kept saying, he finally got you. Meaning the dude that, you know, whose name was in my paperwork. Because, you know, there was just certain things that once our friendship had an expiration date, and it's more than that too, it's a character thing. When I spoke to him not too long ago, the same spirit. I want to beat this dude ass for bragging about his house and car. Same spirit. I'm like, bro, Seriously, still thinking like that, still want to whoop somebody for what they got, for what they've achieved, still got that competitive crab in the bucket mentality, yeah. So, she felt like the dude didn't have my best interest in mind, and I didn't either. I felt like the same spirit a lot of, I'm going to say niggas have, to where they can't truly be happy for you. They have that scarcity mentality. If you looking good, I must be looking bad. If there's nothing for me to gain from it, why would I be happy for you? And there's people that just honestly think like that. If I'm not benefiting, why in the hell would I be happy for you, for your success? And I can be happy for people's success. Some people can't. But anyway, that's why I had left this dude alone. So once I got back in touch with this dude, it wasn't even his fault. I planned the robbery on my own. He planned it on his own. We thought a lot alike. I just so happened to execute it, and he just so happened to think, I'm going to do it without getting my hands dirty. I'm not going with y'all. The dude know me. Y'all go do it and bring me a cut back. We thought about it. We went through it like, nah, that was too convenient. The dude know me and Sonny too. You didn't get your hands dirty. You don't get a cut. Like I say, very surprised that didn't lead to violence, which it almost did. Once I go to the government center and I'll see how real shit is, dudes off in there fighting dudes. Back in the day, I had long hair. There was a thing in Oak Cliff to have long permed hair. So I had long hair and I'm looking, and when dudes get in the fights, they would grab the dude's hair and beat their head against metal tables like it was fucking savages, animals in there. And thank goodness I was a quiet dude that was real buff back then and always worked out. And one thing I didn't realize, and a dude told me in the government center, when you get to prison, I'm sorry, he told me that in Lucerne, the way you carry yourself in the county, bro, I watch you. If you carry yourself like that in prison, you're going to be okay. He said, you mind your own business and you're quiet and you keep motherfuckers guessing and you got some size to you. They're going to be they're not going to fuck with you. And, he said the loudmouth type, they get it first and you real laid back. Keep that same energy when you get to prison. So I'm in the government center. I only got into it with one dude, man. I was rapping and he said I sound like the Claw. He said something about, my raspy voice sounded like the Claw. And then he kept on going with it. And I had to put hands on him and everybody respected that and was like, yeah, he was out of West Dallas. His homies from West Dallas told him he was wrong. And why you fucking with that dude? He don't mess with nobody. And they was giving me props for my rapping and for, mashing old boy for hate. But boy, let me tell you something. Still, when I'm sitting across the table from these dudes, from the government center to the pen, when someone's mother has been on crack and they have lived a horrible life and they've seen people get killed at young ages, when you playing dominoes or you're playing chess, spades, across from a dude that's killed somebody for the watch he had on, when you playing, because one thing about it, anytime I go to jail because I committed a violent offense, I'm locked up with violent offenders. Some of these people are just like me, good guys that were just made bad choices, seduced by the street life. Some of these dudes are real demons, real vampires. They were born vampires. They didn't get bit and turned into vampires. They didn't get bit and seduced into vampires. They were born this way. When you have people whose mama was on crack and they had to survive any way they could, maybe they walked in on their mother, giving a dude younger than them head for the drugs. When people have seen something so traumatic and they came up in the South Dallas, West Dallas, the Comptons, the Memphis, Tennessees, these people are a different breed. There's some good people out of all the places I name, but you're more likely to find real demons in the real trenches. And let me tell you, people, I was not no real demon, thank God. I will never profess to be a demon. But when I wanted to be gangster and this and that, and I was seduced by the street life, it's all cool, man. That's a cool, man, the chicks think you hard. You got a couple of dudes. You get to live that life without really, I get to be tough, but I don't want the consequences of being tough. I want to live that thug life, but I don't want the thug life consequences. Boy, let me tell y'all, for those out there that's straddling the fence, who really not about that life, but think it look cool on you, let me tell you something. It look cool until it's time to pay that price. when you good dudes decide you want to be the gangster, you want to be a thug for your rap image, for your homeboys, because that's the trend that's in right now. Boy, 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 boy. When they lock you off in there with them real game dogs, when they lock you off in there with niggas that's been doing shiesty, I mean, they've been shedding blood for years. They don't like positivity. They see your light as offensive. If you like me, someone who's got a light about you, the darkness don't like that light. But, ooh, the darkness, man, they're intimidated by it. They want to attack it. They want to stay away from it, but they want to extinguish it. It's a crazy thing when you go into a dark place full of light, and you will connect with other lights. But it's like, I got to get ready to wrap this up, y'all. We got started a little late today, so I'll go over just a little bit because, you know, the car ran hot on me. But anyway, once I got locked up and I'm trapped, when you go in a Big T Bazaar, when you go in a Lakeside, when you kicking in at Glendale Park, and you with your boys and the killers over there, but they know you and y'all throw up the deuce, when they pass you a blunt and you hit it, when you see these demons in passing, hey, what up, Slaughta? Hey, what up, Sonny? Whatever was Sonny, he was in the circle. But when you see these demons in passing, it's one thing. When you locked up with them, sleep with them, eat with them, shower with them, shit next to them, it's a whole different ball game, y'all. A whole different ball game. All the stuff that me and other rappers make sound cool, boy, when you off in the penitentiary without no gun getting your ass beat, when it's a race ride and there's 36 Mexicans in this cell and there's 4 blacks and they want some blood, bro, when it's all kind of different things, when the guards are racist assholes, when I did get to prison for that robbery, one of the worst things I've seen, this guard was in this dude's face just spitting, talking to dude like, man, giving this guard every opportunity, man, back up off my face. The guard talking about this dude, mama, he going in on the dude. The dude telling the guard, man, bro, you ain't got to do all this. You're doing too much, man. I can only take so much. The guard just, I wish you would, just talking. Man, this dude put hands on that guard, folded him up, gave that guard the business. Boy, they came and handcuffed that dude and let that coward-ass guard sit on his chest and beat him in his face. This dude's hands is behind his back. The guard is sitting, straddling this dude's chest and upper stomach, punching him in his face. Pop. We mad, we beating on the glass. Everybody off in there writing a grievance kite on that. They just straight, y'all, everybody want to write a grievance, y'all gonna be eating Johnny Sacks for the next month. Johnny Sacks, for those who've been in the penitentiary know, that's like 2 cold-boiled eggs and a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich cold. That's what you eat. And that's not cold old eggs and stale bread on peanut butter and jelly in a brown bag. Even for penitentiary standards, that's what they serve in a chow hall is way better than a Johnny Sack. So they made everybody back up off their grievances. Nobody's going to the store. Everybody's getting Johnny Sacks. Like, this shit really happened in the 90s. Where y'all forget about this guard, this white guard who antagonized this young brother. Y'all forget about him sitting straddled on this dude's chest, beating him in his face. They done fought one-on-one, the inmate won. Other guards helped handcuff this dude while another guard sat on his chest and beat him in his face. I seen stuff like that. I said, I never want to come back here. Another thing that I seen, I didn't see it happen. It was told to me because I was on the Middleton unit, transfer facility, right by the Robinson unit. So a dude they had 50-man dorms back then. So a dude in a whole nother side of Middleton unit, once you first get in, you're on this side, then they move you over across the little catwalk over to this side, the courtyard, whatever. I see this little bitty white dude walking in handcuffs. I see this big black dude walking with his jumper pulled down with pink skin showing where his skin has been peeled off. They said earlier that day the white dude was a white supremacist. He said, called the big dude or called somebody a nigger. The big black dude punched him, put hands on him. Big black dude fell asleep. Back at the Middleton Union, they had these big old coffee pots. I mean, that was not coffee pots. Huge things of hot water. You can make your noodles with them. You could do whatever you wanted to. You could do your little chili beans, your dried bean packs, your meat packs, whatever. You can use the hot water for whatever you wanted it to. Anybody could get Magic Shave off commissary. Magic Shave is what the black dudes use for not getting razor bumps. White dude gets some Magic Shave off commissary. They know it's acidic as hell. He opened up the whole big old pot. This thing's about almost 2 feet full of hot water. And he squeezes that real acidic Magic Shave off in there. Once that hot water hits that acid, that's a wrap. I say the brother who put hands on him earlier for saying nigger or whatever, he sleep on the bottom bunk. They say everybody sleep. They hear this dude screaming a scream they've never heard before. He like just got woke up with this dude dumping boiling hot water with acid in it because that Magic Shave, once it hits that hot water, it's very acidic. And I see this dude walking down the catwalk with his skin literally hanging off in pink all over from where the acid is eating the skin off. And this is what I seen when I went to prison. The first and only time I went, because I was Crime Stoppers Most Wanted, because I was seduced by the street life and, thought that shit was cool until I seen people that was facing 56 years for what I did. Literally, some people got 56 years for what I did. And I was able to get away with doing 120 days TDC, but 10 years deferred adjudication probation. We're going to pick back up y'all next week when I tell y'all the difference between being seduced by the streets and being streets. The difference between the real versus the wannabes. Because y'all going to find out it is a big difference between the real deal and the wannabe. And I will tell y'all this, sometimes a wannabe is worse than a real thing because they're going to overdo it. They're going to do too much. Y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to Slaughta POD. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We're going to bring it back with a pop next week, next Thursday. And we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about some of my experiences I experienced once I did get to prison. And one thing I can warn these other guys against before they go, everything ain't what it seems. Everything seemed cool on these rap songs and shit. Boy, when you paying the consequences for that stuff, it's not as cool as they make it seem, bro. We out. Thank y'all for tuning in to STWF Studios. I am Slaughta Dungata. Thank y'all for tuning in to Slaughta POD. Arrgh!
Okay.